Christmas, everyone, and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision. I hope everybody is having a great Christmas season, and I wish you a very, very merry and blessed Christmas coming up this week, especially as we celebrate the birth of our Savior. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 46 of season 2024. Did a little more work on the bridges area by Holcim Cement and the Devil's Slide control point. Not as much as I had hoped. Was hoping to get some ballasting done and the rivers done, but I had a little bit of a hold up on the shipping procedures. So anyway, I was going to ballast this week, but then it dawned on me that I really can't ballast until I got the bridges basically set in place, because once I ballast up to the bridges, cannot take the bridges out anymore. So I decided to work on some things under the bridge. I had some gaps here between the abutments and the pier and the road. So I just cut out some cardboard and stuck it in there and poured some glue over it to kind of seal it. And decided I would go ahead and work on this road here as well. Do not want to be... Well, part of it is under the bridge, and then the other part is kind of over the bridge, or something I would have to kind of reach over. So I thought I better do that right now. Also wanted to patch up some places in the river that weren't exactly smooth, and also some areas on the road as well. So here you can see I just used some spackling to kind of fill in the cracks. Fill in different spots on the road. Now you notice I have some tape down too. I use Woodland Scenic Smooth It for roads on the layout, and it's a pretty cool procedure. They give you this kind of like foam tape that you put down for the borders of the road, and then you have this Smooth It, which is a special kind of plaster that's very sandable. It's like regular plaster, but it's a lot softer, so you can sand it down. Now, if you look at it now, it looks pretty rough still. I found that when you're doing this, having bumps on the plaster is not a big deal, but if you have dips or holes in the plaster, it's kind of hard to sand down everything down to the level of whatever hole that you have, or a dip that you have. But if you have a bump, that's easy to take a putty knife and just kind of scrape it off and then sand it down. So I wasn't too worried about ridges and bumps, and as you can see here, was pretty easy to... Actually, this is just removing the tape. Now you notice some of the plaster went over the tape, so I'll need to kind of get rid of that still. And now you have it where I think I've sanded it here down and then removed all the excess. Nope, I have not sanded it yet. Forgot what procedures I used. All I did here was remove the excess plaster. Now you still see some of the excess plaster, but when I put the gravel in for the shoulders, that'll all be covered up, and of course the river will be painted. Also had this little gap here as it went up the hill, and so I just filled that in with some styrene. And then I had some Chooch, C-H-O-O-C-H, that's a company. They make this rock molding. Has an adhesive backing, and it's very flexible. This is actually left over from my N-scale layout. I've had this left over from when I built the Mississippi River bridges, which is like 15 years ago. Now I have everything sanded down, and I also put in the railings. These are by Pike stuff, or it could be Rick's Products, kind of the same company. This is for their overpass, but you can order them just the railings without getting the whole overpass. And then I put some balsa wood underneath it for the concrete supports. Still have to figure out some kind of pier in there, because there are supposed to be 2 piers in the water to hold up the bridge. And I have the rock molding all done. So this is obviously a lot of work that I couldn't do with the bridges in place. Now I was going to paint the river and actually put some epoxy in there and paint the road and everything, but the paint that I ordered did not get shipped here on time. It got as far as Palatine, which usually means it's coming the next day, but then it just sat in Palatine. Now what I'm doing here with the bridges is I'm putting some shims in to make sure that everything is perfectly level with each other. So there was a couple of height differences. Now we're very small, like less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but it makes a difference. And I also, so to lower this one was a little bit higher than the truss bridge, the through truss bridge, so I had to cut a little notch in there, and I also sanded down the bridge shoes there a little bit, so that basically you want to make sure that the bridges line up with each other and then line up with the piers. Now I've been kind of holding off on putting in the center rails, the rail guards on bridges, but I figured since I couldn't do any more work on the river and on the road, not having any paint on hand, decided to go ahead and use the time to put in some rail guards. And I have some code 70 micro engineering rail that's weathered. So that worked out real well. I didn't have to worry about painting it or anything. And it looks pretty good. This is micro engineering bridge track. And it has little dimples that guide the guardrail, so it goes right in there very straight, and you don't have to like try and measure and make sure it's the right distance away from the rails and so forth. So that actually was very easy. I want to put it in on this bridge also. However, this is already code 70 rail, so I need to get a hold of some code 55 rail. So I need 2 sections of code 55 rail. I don't want to buy a whole package, obviously. But anyway, this is how it looks. I was hoping to get this all done by Christmas. I have 3 days. Actually 2. 3 if you count today. Not sure if I'll get anything done on it today. The paint's supposed to be here tomorrow. So basically I'm going to have half of tomorrow and then all day Tuesday. So I don't know if I'm going to get everything done by Christmas. I think I will get everything done by my operating session, which is going to be this Saturday. Also want to put in the trees. And I was going to work on the trees the last couple days, but it's like 8 degrees outside. And I usually do the trees in the garage. And so I didn't want to go out there. It's too cold. It's not quite 8 degrees in the garage, but it was still in the low 30s, if not below 30. That's Fahrenheit degrees, by the way. And so I decided to wait on that as well. But this is kind of how it looks. Really like the guardrails. I need to do that on the other ones. Thought I would wait till I did the detail work, but I might just go ahead and put them in the other bridges as well, just because it definitely does make it look a lot nicer. So here we have a couple of trains coming through. That's one of my favorite engines, the patched Southern Pacific. This is just pulling a regular manifest train. We'll go ahead and continue to follow it as it goes towards the Taggart Mountains under the I-84 underpass or overpass, however you want to call it. Here's the other bridges. This is where I need to put some center rails in. That's going to be kind of interesting because I can't really take these out. I'm going to have to put the center rails in with the bridges already there. It shouldn't be too hard. It's pretty easy the way Micro Engineering does their bridge track. It's pretty easy to do. We'll go ahead and follow this other train coming the other way. This is one of the recent BLI locomotives. This is the ES-44 by Broadway Limited Imports. This is only my second engine from them. The first one was the big boy that I bought, and this one is an ES-44 AC. And I bought it stealth without any decoder, and then put in an ESU loc sound decoder. You might want to check out my review that I did on decoders and how I'm switching over to ESU loc sound decoders. This is a double stack train with international containers. Really looking forward to getting the road painted here and the river in. I'm going to try out this Woodland Scenics epoxy, two-part epoxy that they have. And I usually use Envirotex, but they have this Woodland Scenics, trying to think of what it was called, the Deep Pour, I think maybe it is. But you can get it clear or you can get it tinted, and the Weber River is usually pretty murky looking. In fact, when I was there most recently, it was downright, it was just basically brown. But it's normally that kind of greenish color. So anyway, I'm going to be painting it, trying to match the green as best I can, and then put the Woodland Scenics Deep Pour, if that's what it's called, to give it its shine. So that'll be my first actual river being completed. All right, now we'll start with the train coming in the other direction. This time we'll start all the way back towards the main line between Morgan and the Taggart Mountain. This is the Weber River. This is the first crossing of the Weber River. If all goes well on the Weber River by Holcim Cement, I'll probably do this one as well as we go into the Taggart tunnels. And then we go across the Taggart bridges. And then I'll probably do this river also if it all goes well. It'd be nice to have all of them done. Really like this heritage unit. That's a Southern Pacific heritage unit. I've put a ESU decoder in here as well. kind of put my heritage units as a priority. I have 2 of the 3 done as it heads towards the last crossing of the Weber River as we go through the double slide control point and then onto the bridges crossing the Weber River for the last time. So we have a auto rack train going eastbound and then a coal train moving westbound. Still need to put the walkways on these bridges too. I definitely will wait for that until I come around with detailing. Both those bridges have walkways on both sides of the tracks with railings. So not only in the through truss part, but also in the deck girder bridges as well. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a very merry, blessed Christmas coming up. Stay tuned for a lot of decoder and programming videos, reviews, and then, of course, the weekly updates. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.